Good evening. Welcome to week number 4 of the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show, live on the Hometown Radio Network on WHIR and WHBN. And we've got Tim Holland in studio with us on this, well, fine football Friday night. It's fine because it's a football Friday night, but weather-wise, this has been an interesting day. Tim, glad to have you aboard. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just like everybody else, just a little bit wet. Windy and out of power.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd rather be here than home because you don't have power weekday, and this has been the weirdest afternoon ever because it seems like it's taken forever to get to this point, to get to the Zaxby show, but it also seems like I haven't had enough time to prepare for anything to get to this point. And I was telling Tim this story. I got home, and my neighbor called and said, "You need to go check on your house because I just lost all my appliances." We apparently had a transformer go out or something, and the neighbor behind me lost like 80% of his appliances, just like burned up. And so I go home, and I realize apparently we're not on the same transformer. I don't know. I've still got power. I could tell we had a power outage because my stove light is flashing there, but we still have power. And so I literally open the door to walk out to go back to work, and my dog runs out the front door in the middle of a hurricane. And I'm just so frustrated because I thought my house was on fire. I was having a little PTSD. For those that don't know, I had a house fire last April, so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this guy just said his appliances burned up. I have no idea what that means, but I've got to get home. And now my dog runs out in a hurricane, and I'm just like, this is the worst day ever. And so we get the dog back in, and then I realize that the gutters on my house are just pulling water right next to my house. And then I've got to go to Lowe's, and I got to get the gutter extenders. And we just spread topsoil in my front yard to lay grass seed. Luckily, we haven't laid the grass seed yet. I'm glad we didn't with a rain like this. Yeah. But my front yard is an absolute muddy mess, and I cannot get this gutter extender on my downspout to save my life. I'm just covered in mud, and I just know our new house is ruined because there's going to be water everywhere, and I can't do anything about it. I finally got it on that last gutter, like 30 minutes of me just like my boots weigh 1,000 pounds because they have all kinds of mud stuck to the bottom of them, and I'm just like, this has been the weirdest day ever. And I'm glad to bring a little normalcy back to where we are now. It's from 6 to 7 a Friday night to have the Zaxby show. And Tim, you don't have any power at your house, and so you said you texted your wife and like, all right, where are we eating dinner tonight? Because we can't eat at home because we don't have power. So your afternoon, I'm sure, has been weird too. So I'm glad that we can kind of get back to the normal routine of things,
or at least a little bit of a distraction.
Yes, right. A little bit of a distraction from what's happened here today. So I was talking with the area head coaches, and this morning, when we realized that there was going to be, really realized it yesterday, but realized that this was going to be a day full of weird weather, I asked the area coaches I talked to, which is Coach Haddix at 7:10 in the morning, and then Coach Parks at 7:20 in the morning. And I asked them their worst weather games that they either played in or coached in. And so, Tim, I'll give you some time to think about it. And I think you already have one, but I'll give you some time to think about it, and we'll talk about it after this next break. But you can just, if you need some more time to stew on it and chew on it, what is the worst weather game you've ever been a part of? And I've got one, too. I've got a couple of them, but I'll kind of narrow mine down to one. And I didn't play football in high school, but mine I remember going to as a fan. Of course, I went to Danville, and I remember this game specifically when I was a senior in high school, rooting for Danville there my senior year. So I've got mine as well. Went to Zaxby's today to pick up our meal, and I walked in and told them I was with the radio station, kind of told them what was going on. The lady knew exactly what was going on, and she said, "Oh, yeah, you always get a boneless wings and things." And I said, "Well, we do usually, but I'm changing that up." Oh. She said, "What?"
Oh.
Even she was taken back. I said, usually I'm the one that gets the boneless wings and things, but I want to do something different today. And she was like, well, I guess we can let you do that. It was almost like she was offended that I'm changing my order up. Maybe she listens to the show and realizes, how can you do this when Boyle County still hasn't lost a game yet, but I don't have any fear they're going to lose tonight. So that's why I'm okay with change. Yeah, I've done it before. I've changed my meal multiple times. I go through these kicks where I want to eat healthy, so I'll go get a salad or I'll get a kickin' chicken sandwich. Today, I got the Nibbler meal. The Nibblers are the 3 little chicken sandwiches, and they usually come with spicy Zax sauce on them. And I said, hold the spicy Zax sauce. Can you give me a side of nuclear sauce, please, which is like their hottest sauce they have. I put the nuclear sauce on it. I dip it in ranch, and I was high living today, Tim. But the Zaxby's cashier, she was great. She was awesome, friendly. She was like, what? You can't change your order. You always get a boneless wings and things. So I went there today and was able to get my Zaxby's meal. Appreciate them. And if you like the show, go to Zaxby's on the bypass in Danville. Let them know how much you like it. And, Tim, maybe that's where you and Jenny can go get dinner tonight at Zaxby's. All right, we'll step aside. We'll come back. Again, we'll talk about the worst weather games that we've ever been a part of. And then I'm talking a little Mercer County and Madison Southern. And quite honestly, I was praying all day long that Mercer and Madison Southern was not going to be canceled today. The reason being, the way that I have my week set out, I work on certain things on certain days. And so I had like Wednesday and Thursday, I'm like, all right, this is when I'll work on my pregame prep for the show. And I'd already picked out of my mind Mercer County, Madison Southern. I've had this work, the notes, I've had this done for the last 36 hours. And I was just saying, my luck, the way this Friday has gone, my dogs ran out, it's been a hurricane, I've wrestled in my own mud, my boots weigh 1,000 pounds, and I've got mud all over the place. That this game will be canceled, and I have all this pregame work done, and then I'll have to go to the station and work on another game and try to cram it in and have a show. But the one thing that's gone right for me today is that Mercer and Madison Southern did not cancel their game. So that's what we'll start off with today on the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show at HTR Joe on Twitter. And we'd love to have you on the show this morning or this evening at HTR Joe on Twitter. And we'll get you on your comments, your concerns, your thoughts, your questions, and your vicious remarks right here on the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show, live from the Hometown Radio Network on a windy and rainy, hurricane Friday afternoon.
Great! See, we're practically sitting on the field. If you could sit here.
Your food and drinks will be right over.
Oh, yes! For the same price as way up here. Great seats. Right up here with a blimp. Why wouldn't you? It's the same with auto insurance. With discounts up to 40%, it's possible to get the personal service of a State Farm agent for the same or less than those other guys.
See your State Farm agent in Harrisburg, David Hopewell, and Randy Couch.
Want a taste of the flavor that made Zaxby's famous? Try the Kickin' Chicken Sandwich Meal. Our signature chicken fingers on Texas toast, drizzled with tongue torch sauce and Cool Ranch. Served with hot, seasoned crinkle fries and a small beverage. The best chicken sandwich ever created? Maybe. Indescribably good? Definitely.
Visit Zaxby's in Danville on the bypass, Skywatch Drive. Order ahead at Zaxby's.com and call for catering too.
This Saturday, the Cats head to the Magnolia State for an early day SEC battle. It's the Ole Miss Rebels and your Kentucky Wildcats.
The pregame show starts this Saturday morning at 10 with kickoff at noon.
It's all right here on your home for the Cats and the hits is WRNZ FM C105.
This is Ryan Lemon, co-host of Kentucky Sports Radio, and you're listening to Central Kentucky's only high school football tailgating show, the High School Football Preview Show with Joe Mathis on the Hometown Radio Network.
There, Ryan at HTR Joe on Twitter, the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show on this rainy and wet and windy Friday night for high school football. There are, every area team is in action tonight, essentially, besides Casey County. You got Boyle County at Lexington Catholic, a game that has been pushed back an hour. That's going to be an 8:30 kickoff tonight for those two teams. Madison Southern is at Mercer County tonight. Titans trying to get back on the board with a win. West Chessman is at Garrett County tonight. Lincoln County is at Somerset, and Casey County is at that was last night. Casey County, Metcalfe County. Anderson County at South Oldham is tonight as well. So with the weather that we have, Tim, we had 2+ inches of rain. Trees were down all over the place. Hurricane wind gusts 50 miles per hour plus. Let's start off with you. What is the worst weather game that you ever either? Now, you played, but you also coached, and you've commentated games. So what's the worst weather game you've ever been a part of, Tim? Go ahead.
Well, the big thing is, like for coaching, you can wrap up. You throw a toboggan, you throw a jacket on, you throw all kinds of layers on. So, I've been in some pretty bad games coaching, but I've been wrapped up on sidelines. Now, when you play, a lot of times you go, because I played defensive tackle nose, and I'm like, I don't need sleeves. Who needs long sleeves on? I mean, I'm tough. I can do this. So,
no, yeah, I mean, you're a 17-year-old man, right?
Yeah,
You think you're a man. You're 16, 17. You're a junior in high school. You don't need stinking sleeves. Stop it.
So my senior year, we had a game against Danville. And during that game, I'm pretty sure it rained, sleet, ice, snow, just all kind of in a row. And it was so cold that, we had the big heaters on the sidelines, but I'd get over and I'd get warm, and I'd go back in the game, and, I was down in three-point stance, so my hands would go down into the water where that had piled up.
Yeah.
So pretty much by the time we got off the field, my hands were purple. Then I go over and get them back to the right color,
and
then
they
go back out and get purple again.
What year was that?
That would be 90.
Okay, 1990. All right, so my bad weather game is from 2006. I was a senior at Danville in 2006. Danville fans, cover your ears. This was the state championship game where Danville was leading Newport Central Catholic by 17 in the fourth quarter, and Newport Central Catholic came back and won that game. But I had 2 pairs of gloves on. It was so cold, 2 pairs of gloves on. My hands were still frostbit, and I tell this story to people, and like the old head football fans are like, oh, that game wasn't that cold. And this is how I know it was cold. When Coach Harp retired from Danville, they did this big piece, the Advocate Messenger, and I think actually Mike Marcy wrote the story on him, and hit the most memorable moments he had at Danville, and they talked about some of the bad weather games, and he mentioned the 2006 state championship game, Danville Newport Central Catholic, was probably the coldest game that he ever coached in, and that's the one that I'm referencing. It was miserable.
Yeah.
It was like a negative million degrees outside. Like it was miserable out there. Were you on the staff then,
No,
Tim?
not,
2006.
I wasn't that time,
Okay.
but I was at that game. I know what you're talking
Yes, so that's my bad weather game. There have been a couple as well broadcasting. There was a game in Wayne County that got lightninged out. There was a game versus LCA that actually got postponed to the next day because it wouldn't stop raining and lightning, but that's the one that sticks in my head. Now, I asked Coach Haddix and Coach Parks this question. Haddix told me it was 2002. He was the quarterback at Breathitt County. They went to Belfry. He said they showed up, and it was a mud pit at Belfry. And he said it's 7-0. They have a rushing touchdown. It's 7-0 going into the fourth quarter. And I think they end up getting like 2 defensive touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And Breathitt County beats Belfry 21-0. And I said, did it rain that much, Coach? Or did they just overwater the field? And he said yes.
Yeah.
To which one? He just laughed. He said, I'm not really sure how to answer that question. And we've heard stories before about some of those fields in eastern Kentucky. They water them down a little bit when they know a fast team's coming in there.
And Coach Haddix, the teams he was quarterbacking were high offensive,
yes.
throw the ball everywhere.
Throw the ball all over the place, yeah.
So how do you slow them down?
Yeah.
You just, where they can't make cuts, they can't do anything, throw mud. Like you're talking about at your house today, they got mud on their cleats, they can't run. That's what you do.
That's what it is. Coach Parks' story was a little more interesting because Coach Parks said, of course, he played at Georgetown collegiately, and he went to Union. They played a game at Union. He said it was super hot, but it's not necessarily the heat that he said that made this a bad weather game. He said, we had our towels, and we were wiping our heads off and eyes and faces and all that. And he said, unbeknownst to them, one of the guys on the team had pink eye. I told him this is not the way I thought the story was going to go when he said it was super hot. And he said, luckily, I did not use that towel. But a lot of other teammates did. And he said, and pink eye got spread around the locker room because it was so hot. We were using the same towel, and all the guys who used that towel ended up getting pink eye from the one guy, I guess, who didn't know that he had it, maybe early stages or whatever. And then everybody got pink eye.
Wow.
So that was his bad weather story. At HTR Joe on Twitter, we're talking now Mercer County, Madison Southern. And let's talk about this game real quickly. Mercer County trying to get the train back on the tracks, so to say, grappling with injuries. They've been hit so hard by injuries. They're now taking on a 5A Madison Southern team that's going to give them a chance to get a little bit of a boost in the RPI, and this is certainly a beatable Madison Southern team as well. Madison Southern and Mercer County have played once before in their school's history, and that was last season when Mercer handled Madison Southern. Score was 42-6 in that game. Mercer ran for 5 touchdowns. 5 of their 6 touchdowns were rushing touchdowns. Denham Griffith had 2 of them. Ashton Drakeford had 2 of them, and quarterback Thaddeus Mays had 1 of them as well. Madison Southern, led by head coach Mark Payne, took over the reins of Madison Southern back in 2022. This is his third full year as head coach at Madison Southern, and 11-17 record overall as the head coach. And of course, Madison Southern has had some really good years in high school football, but none better than when they had one of the state's all-time greatest running backs who played there just, 8, 9, 10 years ago or so. Maybe longer than that. I'm getting older now, I guess. But Damian Harris, of course, played his high school ball at Madison Southern. He ran for close to 6,800 yards, 122 touchdowns in his career at Madison Southern. But, Tim, I don't know how many people know this or not. I just assumed that Damian Harris, because he was the best player in the state, won Mr. Football. He did not win Mr. Football his senior year, and I vaguely remember this. He got injured about midway through his senior year season, so he only played 7 games. And so when it came down to his senior year, he didn't have the stats. Probably even through 7 games, he was better than most players in the state, but he didn't have the stats to line up to some of the other players that were also competing for Mr. Football. So voters, instead of going with Madison Southern's Damian Harris, they went with Caldwell County's Elijah Sindelar, who was the quarterback of Caldwell County that year. Now, he was a great player, too. I'm not saying that he didn't deserve it. He's the second, at the time that he graduated, had the second most passing yards in KHSA history, went to Purdue, played D1 at Purdue. But Mr. Kentucky football voters passed on Damian Harris, gave the award to Elijah Sindelar. Of course, when it came to commitment time, Damian Harris got to choose either between Alabama, Ohio State, or Kentucky. He chose Alabama. I think won 2 national championships with Nick Saban, was drafted 3rd round by the Patriots, had a phenomenal, I think his 3rd year in the league with the Patriots, ran for 992 yards and 15 touchdowns. Actually announced his retirement earlier this year. One of the greatest running backs in the history of the state. Of course, played for Madison Southern. You remember Damian Harris playing for the Eagles, Tim? Madison Southern Eagles? The Madison Southern Eagles, not the Philadelphia Eagles. Madison Southern Eagles. No, I remember him for the Patriots.
I do, because I was actually kind of bummed because that year Boyle was playing them at the very last game of the year.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I was hoping to see him play.
That's exactly right. They were supposed to play him, and he was injured and didn't get to play in that game.
Yeah, they were trying to get him back, but they couldn't get him back in time, and so I was kind of bummed. I really wanted to see him play.
Yeah, let's talk about this Madison Southern defense as of now, because their head coach, we mentioned Mark Payne, is a defensive-minded coach. He was the former defensive coordinator at Southwestern before taking over at Madison Southern. And this is a defense that plays mostly 4-down linemen. They'll sometimes go into 3-down sets, but mostly 4-down linemen. And they'll walk their linebackers in off the edge to give them extra run support. What does that mean? There is a lot of movement on that Madison Southern defense. They're shifting different formations up front. They're moving linebackers around. Mercer County coach Craig Yee said their linebackers play really hard. They run hard. They're fast. And they're trying to get as many hats to the football as they can, which is the goal for most defenses. Now, with that said, the defense has been part of the reason that this team is just 1-4. They have not played real well this year through the first 5 games. They got their first win of the season last week versus Henry Clay. They beat Henry Clay 30-0, but Henry Clay hasn't won a game this year either. They've scored 23 points the entire season in their first 5 games of the year. So they beat Henry Clay 30-0, but Madison Southern has given up 174 points this year. That's about a 35-point-per-game average, and that's including a shutout last week when they gave up nothing. So in the 4 games this year they've given up points. That's 174 points in 4 games. That's about a 43-point-per-game average. Before last week's shutout, they were the worst defense in all of Class 5A in points per game. Even after the shutout, they are the 4th worst defense in Class 5A in terms of points per game. So I mentioned this is a beatable Madison Southern team. I mean it. This is a beatable Madison Southern team tonight for Mercer County.
Yeah, it is. I mean, sounds like the team they had last year that Mercer went up against.
Yeah, 42-6 was the score of that one.
Mercer doesn't have, a little bit, like you said, a little bit hurt, a little bit down right now. We don't know, some of these guys coming back, but I still believe it might not be the 42-6 or however it is, but they'll still beat them. It'll bring Mercer back up to 500, I believe.
Well, so here's the deal. You talk about Madison Southern. They have played. Now, part of it has to do with the fact they played a relatively tougher schedule than most. 6A Great Crossing, 6A Tate's Creek, 6A Madison Central, and Wayne County, who was unbeaten in 4A before last night. They lost to Taylor County last night. But the fact of the matter is Madison Southern has been drilled in some of the games they played this year. 174 points in 4 games. Again, was the worst in Class 5A through the first 4 games of the year. This is a game that I think that Mercer County can look at and say, hey, look, our quarterback is out. Our running back is out. But we've got a very good backup in Cohen Sanford, who has run it really well the last game and a half. We're not going to throw the ball anyway. Who's throwing the ball in this type of weather, right? So, we're not going to throw the ball anyway. And with our backup quarterback, we've got a backup running back that's pretty good. So, we can hand the ball off to Cohen Sanford, and this plays right into, and I know Madison Southern wants to stop the run based on the defense they like to run, but they've given up through the first 4 games of the year. They gave up 1,176 rushing yards in 4 games. It's 300 yards a game. So this seems like, Tim, just the game script. It's going to be a lot of running. Mercer County wants to run it. Madison Southern has had trouble so far stopping the run that this seems to fit the bill for Mercer County tonight against a school, and they desperately need a win. Mercer County does for their RPI rankings.
Yeah, and it's like I've kind of mentioned before, these are the games that your offensive linemen like because they know what's coming.
Going to be just a dirty, nasty, muddy, ugly game, and watch the big hog mollies up front block.
Yeah, I mean, it's a line, we always love these games because we know what we're going to get, what we're going to do, and it's, just really, it's like, hey, me against you line up against nose to nose with the guy.
And see who's stronger. Let's see who can open up some holes. Now, for the RPI, Madison Southern is not in a great spot in the RPI in 5A. They're currently ranked 38th out of 43 teams in 5A. However, they are a bigger class team, so Mercer County will get a little bit of a boost if they were to beat Madison Southern. But what would really help Mercer County out is the fact that Madison Southern has played a really good schedule. And again, part of the RPI calculation is your opponent's win percentage. I was reading the RPI. I feel like I read this weekly to try to figure it out, and I'm like drooling on myself trying to figure out the equations that they use for this thing. But the fact of the matter is, I know this, Mercer needs a win badly to improve their RPI because it's not great right now. But I am going to give you a little bit of hope for Mercer County fans. I think things are going to get much better for Mercer County, and here's why. Right now, Mercer County is actually ranked one spot in the RPI in 3A behind Casey County in 3A. Casey County has not won a game. They've scored, I think, 13 points the entire season. They may be the worst team in all of, not maybe the worst team in the state, but certainly the worst team in Class 3A. And Mercer County's ranked one spot behind them. Now, we know as the year goes on that Mercer County is going to start winning games. They're going to move up the RPI, all right? In fact, Mercer County's district is a very winnable district for them. Marion County, Casey County, Garrett County, Mercer County, right? Mercer County right now has the lowest RPI out of all 4 of those teams, and I think they have a chance to win their district. I think it's going to be between Garrett County and Mercer County like it was last year. So if you win tonight against Madison Southern, there's your win over a bigger class school. Then you got district play. Well, let's say you sweep district play. You're going to beat Casey, going to beat Marion, and going to beat Garrett if you sweep district play. There's 4 wins in a row for you right there. Now you've racked up 4 wins in a row. And then you end the year with Lincoln County. Lincoln's better, but who's to say at that point Ashton Drakeford's back. At that point, Braden Boffman's back. So now you're at full health. You're going against a pretty good Lincoln County team. And I respect what they've done down there in Lincoln County, doing great things this year. But you can't say that game's not winnable either. So at that point, you've won 5 games in a row. And so the fact of the matter is, you got a chance starting tonight if you're Mercer County to give yourself a great chance to win back-to-back games. You're district champion. Now you have a couple of home games in the playoffs. Your RPI has gone way up now because you've beaten every team to end the year. But it starts tonight with beating this Madison Southern team in 5A. This will be a great start to end Mercer County's year. We're talking about ending the year. We're halfway through. But to end it with a win streak is what I mean. It could start tonight, and this could be a big win for them. Yeah, it is, because it will get them on a flow. A lot of times it's in the guys' heads. You start winning, you don't start paying attention as much as, I'm kind of hurt here, I'm tired. You don't pay attention to that when you're winning. So you get these guys going on a nice win streak. If you get the 5-game win, then you go into the playoffs.
then, it's kind of like you're starting fresh again. So.
Yeah. It's almost, if you remember last week when I talked about this, it's almost the opposite of what we talked about with Boyle County. And what I mean by that is Boyle County right now is third in Class 4A in the RPI, and there's not a lot of teams left that's going to improve Boyle County's RPI. Yeah. They got Frederick Douglass at the end of the year, but right now they're third, and you got to hope either Paducah Tillman or Franklin County lose one of their remaining games, so maybe you can hop up over them. You don't have to have the 1 seed. You just got to have at least the 2 seed if you want to play home games throughout the playoffs. So it's opposite for Mercer, where they're way low, but everybody they're going to play from now on, as of right now, is ranked above them in the RPI, even Casey County. And so you got a chance to improve that RPI as you make your way throughout this season. At HTR Joe on Twitter. You can also watch us on Facebook, Hometown Live Radio on Facebook. You can comment that way as well. We'll step aside. We'll come back, and we've got the high school fantasy football draft brought to you by Danville Family Dentistry coming up right after this on the Hometown Radio Network on 103.9 FM WHIR, 99.5 FM WHBN, and HometownLive.net. And again on Facebook as well, the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show.
Take your ride to the next level in a new Kia from Cartown Kia.
Next level rides start with next level savings. Score 0.9% on select models, like the hot new 2024 Kia Sorento and 2024 Kia Sportage.
And don't forget our 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Next level savings start at Cartown Kia and CartownKiaUSA.com.
0.9% APR financing up to 48 months at $21.22 per month per thousand finance through Kia Motor Finance on 2024 Kia Sorento and Sportage. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for details. Offer expires September 30th, 2024.
Great. See, we're practically sitting on the field. If you could sit here.
Your food and drinks will be right over.
Oh, yes! For the same price as way up here. Great seats. Right up here with a blimp. Why wouldn't you? It's the same with auto insurance. With discounts up to 40%, it's possible to get the personal service of a State Farm agent for the same or less than those other guys.
See your State Farm agent in Harrodsburg, David Hopewell, and Randy Couch.
Hi folks, Mike Gay here, HR Manager with Essity. It's game time, and at Essity, we support our local high school teams. If you're cheering from Titletown for Danville, Boyle County, or DCA, or in Harrodsburg rooting for the Titans or the Bulldogs, or supporting those Golden Lions of GC and Lancaster, remember that Essity is on your team. 70% of our employees reside in these fine communities, and we are your biggest fans. That's Essity, ESSITY.com.
Hi, this is Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio. You're listening to Central Kentucky's only high school football tailgating show, the High School Football Preview Show with Joe Mathis on the Hometown Radio Network.
Good evening and welcome to week number 4 of the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show and Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft. And we are joined in studio by Radio Rick, who's to my right. Rick, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Matt's in here as well.
Hey,
Team
Joe.
Center Communications. You doing all right today?
Doing well.
Okay. Team Tourism, they decided not to come dressed alike, wearing different shirts, different pants, different shoes, even a different colored belt. And Derek, is it different socks? Derek, you wearing socks?
Yeah, they're no-shows.
The no-show socks? You were basically a no-show last week in fantasy, so it's perfect. Derek, how are you doing tonight?
I was doing better before that comment.
Mr. Packett's not here. He is not on bye, but we do know job complications for Mr. Packett, which I think he's going to be able to be more available over the next month or so, but he's still not available consistently. And so with Mr. Packett gone, I'm on bye this week. I'll pick for Mr. Packett this week in our draft. But let's go back to last week first, starting off with Mr. Packett, who was here last week and did pick his team last week. And he got 39 from Cash Smith, who is on his way to being named just statistically speaking, the Fantasy Football Player of the Year, despite the fact that someone from another team may win Mr. Football. When you look at fantasy stats, it's hard to top what Cash Smith is doing this year. 39 for Cash Smith. His second highest score was actually the Boyle County defense, who played really well. Had a shutout, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 1 a pick six and 1 a return touchdown. 24 points from his defense, which is one off the all-time record for points scored. Danville's defense in like 2017, got him 25 one game. That was their state championship year. 24 for the Rebels, and 23.3 for Cameron Peak. You add all of the scores up, 108.7.
Nice.
For Mr. Packett, what a week for him. Going against me, so I've got a top 108.7. My top scorer was Malachi Simmons, who got me 31.7 points. Montaven Quisenberry got me 29.6 points. Nemo Wilson got me 23.2 points. Tucker Foster, the Lincoln County quarterback, got me 12.6. The Garrett defense got me 8, and a couple of other single-point scorers in there. 119.3 for me. Topping Mr. Packett at 108.7, moving me to 3-0 on the year.
I feel like this show is very similar to the Atlanta Falcons owner inducting himself into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Joe Mathis is just sitting here.
Yeah, I saw him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm like, did this man just induct himself?
They were talking about it on KSR the next day. And he's like, he owns the Falcons. How is he in the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, if he sells it, then it's one thing. If Matt Jones were to sell KSR or the Falcons owner, then the next owner do it.
Can do it, but he is the current owner.
Yeah, that's.
And he's got his name now up there around the stadium. Arthur Blank.
Jerry Jones sitting at home saying, wait, we can do that?
Wait a minute here. The other matchup was Team Center Communications. That's Matt versus Team Tourism. That's Derek. And we'll start off with Team Center Communications, who had a Will Rohde, 204 yards and 4 touchdowns. For Will Rohde, 40.4 points. He was the week's leading scorer.
Way to go, Will.
40.4. And his second leading scorer, the Anderson County defense, who got him 14. Everybody else in single digits. 2 players got him 0. He drafted 2 players, both injured, both didn't play. It ends up being just a 70-point performance for Team Center Communications and paving the way for Team Tourism to pick up another win. Maury Brown was Team Tourism's top scorer, 28.6. Baylor Murphy, 20.2. A bunch of single-digit scores after that. The biggest kicker, Mercer County's defense. They gave up 28 points and didn't force a single turnover. Once you cross that 25-point threshold, you start to get negative points. Had they gotten a turnover, they wouldn't have been in the negative. They would have had 1 point. Instead, Derek gets negative 1 point from Mercer County.
Does that matter, Joe?
68.8. Had he not even drafted a defense, he would have lost by 0.2 of 1 point. Had Mercer just forced 1 turnover, it's a 2-point swing from -1 to 1, and Derek wins by 0.8 of a point. But instead, he loses by 1.2 to Matt, who drafted 2 players who didn't even play last Friday. And Derek's just looking at Matt with fury in his eyes. Derek, do you have anything to say about your performance?
Minor setback for a major comeback.
We're going to have to see if that's the case. 15.4 for Team Radio Rick on by, who drafted 4 players who got him nothing. Drafted Lincoln's defense, who got him -1. He did have Guy Turner, who rushed for a touchdown last week. He got him 7.4 points, and Landon Yates got him 6.8. So a humbling bye for Radio Rick. Standings look like this. I'm 3-0. Everybody else behind me at 1-1. Mr. Packett, Center Communications. Tourism's at 1-2. Team Radio Rick at 0-2. I also lead the total point standings at 357.3. Team Center Communications 117.3 behind me. Team Tourism 137.3. Mr. Packett about 170. Radio Rick about 230 behind me. But again, I am on bye this week, so a chance for you all to really pick up some points on a week where there are no Danville players, and then you got some tougher matchups too as well, with Anderson County against South Oldham. That's won 4 games in a row. We know Mercer's got some players out, so this could be a really tough bye week for me. I'm not even sure there's going to be enough players to fill out a roster for me, but that's the way it works. The Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft is brought to you by for the 4th week in a row. This is crazy. I'm Arthur Blank in this sucker.
I think he just invites us on the show so he can brag about himself for 30 minutes.
I got to feel good about myself to somebody, because when I get home, Rebecca lets me know I'm not all that. Danville Family Dentistry, it's all about you.
It's actually all about me. I'm Joe Mathis.
Danville Family Dentistry, we're all about you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Neal at Danville Family Dentistry. We can all agree life is busy and our days are full. Don't let getting a dental appointment be part of the stress. Call us at 236-2488 and let us help keep your smile beautiful and healthy. We are open 5 days a week to accommodate your schedule. At Danville Family Dentistry, we are all about you. We are located at 132 North 2nd Street. Again, that's Danville Family Dentistry, 236-2488.
All right, week 4 draft looks like this. We'll have Derek, Team Tourism versus Mr. Packett. Packett. Derek will bat first. He'll bat leadoff. Mr. Packett batting in the 2-hole. Team Center Communications will pick third, and Team Radio Rick will pick fourth.
Okay.
For the first pick in Week 4 of the Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft, Team Tourism is on the clock.
Montaven Quisenberry.
Tavy going up against 0-5 Lexington Catholic tonight. Montaven Quisenberry is off the board. Comes to Mr. Packett. He is not here. I am drafting for Mr. Packett, and I think it makes sense if the top player, statistically, fantasy-wise speaking, is still on the board, to take the top player on the board. Lincoln County is at Somerset. Give me Cash Smith in running back number 1 spot for Mr. Packett. Team Communications, Center College. You're up.
Cameron
Peak. Garrett County RB hosting West Jessamine. Radio Rick, back-to-back picks.
Okay, then. Malachi Simmons and Will Rohde.
You know, sometimes we have drafts some years where it's wide receiver heavy. This is a very running back heavy draft. Malachi Simmons, Garrett County, Will Rohde, Anderson County, back-to-back backs taken. It goes back to Center Communications, who is probably going to take another running back.
Maury Brown.
Maury Brown is off the board as well. So the first 6 picks are all running backs.
I'm curious what you all think about Lexington Catholic receiving votes in the Class 4A poll. Would you rather have them or Rockcastle, who's 3-2, whatever they are?
Rockcastle County.
You would?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that,
I'm just curious.
I'm not
like
saying.
What?
I mean, I think Lexington Catholic probably beat Rockcastle County,
Right.
but one's 3-2 and one's 0-5. I don't care what your schedule is. You ain't won a game. Why are you receiving votes? You agree with me, Matt?
I see it both ways.
I ain't won a game yet.
I'm gonna ride the fence.
All right, who's next? Mr. Packett is. I'm going to go Nemo Wilson for Mr. Packett, as 7 straight running backs are now taken. Nemo Wilson at South Oldham. It goes to Derek, who gets back-to-back picks.
Baylor Murphy,
Boyle County quarterback. Okay.
I'm going to go a little crazy here, but they've been racking up points. I'm going to go Boyle's defense.
The Boyle County defense, 24 points last week and going against a team that hasn't won a game yet. And Boyle County's off the board. Back to Mr. Packett. I'm going to take for Mr. Packett Tucker Foster, Lincoln County quarterback. Tucker Foster is off the board. Team Center Communications. I should have picked somebody else. I should have picked somebody else for Mr. Packett. I'm just glad it's not my team. I'd beat myself up more if I didn't pick this guy.
Wow, now I'm like, okay, who's he want? What position?
I'm not telling you that.
I'm genuinely curious.
Narrow it down.
There's nothing that, like...
this guy's not even on a list.
Not even on the list?
No, but I mean, he plays. He played last week.
Played last week?
No one's drafted him yet.
Okay, give him to me. Thank you.
I missed something.
Derek just held his phone up and took a picture of me. Who are you sending that to?
Did you have Packett?
Josh Cook. He tried to call me. I said on the radio. So.
Yeah, I interviewed Coach Cook. He was a big Louisville guy. Or I don't know if he's a Louisville guy more than he is just likes coaches, and Patino was at Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, he loves Patino, but he is a Louisville fan.
Okay,
yeah.
And so I said something disparaging about Patino, and he wasn't happy with me. Of course, I was just joking around, like I'm a morning guy. We just joke around about everything. And I said something about Patino. He was like, he just didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah. Didn't y'all do the Huddle House, the morning show?
Yeah, we went inside the huddle. I talked with Coach Cook quite a bit.
I always talked about what you'd order at Huddle House or something.
Yes.
Yeah, he told me that.
He seemed like a real serious guy, I don't think he wanted to talk Huddle House at 7:45 in the morning with me.
He is, he's huddle, or he's not huddle. He's a pretty serious guy and pretty basketball oriented. But if you get him outside of basketball, but I think he thinks about basketball 90% of his life.
Yeah, I don't even know if he knows who I am. We'll see when he texts you back. What are the odds that Coach Cook knows who I am?
Or what you look like, We just talk on the radio all the time.
That's true. Yeah, we talk on the radio, but I don't know who this guy is. Why did you send me the picture of this random guy? I'm going to go...
Are you picking for Packett?
No.
You already did?
No, we're actually putting betting odds on if Josh Cook knows who I am.
Okay, well...
tackling really important
I'd say
stuff.
like plus 180.
Yeah. Okay, so I took Tucker Foster. It has come to Matt, and Matt has not picked because I said there's someone who hasn't been picked that needs to be picked, but he's not on the list. And Matt said, what position is he?
Can I put him at wide receiver?
Who? The guy I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that, because then you'll know if he's just this or that, or what position if he is a wide receiver.
Give me Cohen Sanford.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cohen Sanford's not on the list. I forgot to add him, but he is Mercer County's running back.
Yeah.
He'll go in your flex. Radio Rick. Back-to-back.
Justin Parsons.
Okay, that's Garrett County's quarterback.
And Nathaniel Doherty.
Hoping for some Garrett County through-the-air magic. Parsons to Nathaniel Doherty. Team Center Communications, 1 pick.
Lyndon Smith.
That's probably a good pick. I mean, someone's got to step up and be Boyle County's number 1 receiver, or number 2 if Tavy's the receiver. It's not Gio. Gio's hurt, so Lyndon Smith is off the board.
And I'm going to take...
Hold on, what are you taking 2 players for? You're picking in the 3rd spot.
That's right. My fault.
Yeah, come on, back off, Jack.
yeah, I'll take them back-to-back, too, for Mr. Packett.
Yeah, sure.
5 spots in between.
All right, give me Jackson Harden to go in Mr. Packett's wide receiver spot, number 1. Derek, back-to-back.
Cole Andrews.
Boyle County kicker, Cole Andrews. That's the 3rd. No, that's the... You got all Boyle County players.
Seneca Driver.
Let's make it 5 for 5. Seneca Driver, who has been on Derek's team every week this year. Goes back to Mr. Packett. I guess I'll take Maddox Hager. Give me Maddox Hager in wide receiver number 2 spot for Mr. Packett. Team Center Communications. Who you going with?
The Lincoln County defense.
Okay, the Lincoln County Patriots. Okay, Radio Rick. 2 picks.
Garrett's defense.
Oh, that's who I was going to pick for Mr. Packett. Looking to go to 4-2 for the first time since
1948.
No, 2019. Not that long. 2019. The last time Garrett County was 4-2. Head coach Jerry Perry leading the Golden Lions that year.
And I'll take DeMargo.
Hudson DeMargo. Okay, back to Center Communications for 1 pick.
I really feel like some of these guys... We should have 2 flexes instead of 2 wide receivers.
Matt, we've been doing it this way.
Yeah, it's
10
years.
This guy.
And now week 4.
And change it up.
Week 4 of the 10th year.
Yeah, and this coming from a guy who's not won the championship ever, and he wants you to change stuff up.
Who? Matt? Matt's won.
Yeah, Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
I didn't say that. Rick said
that. Hold on. Who wants to change now? Is it Derek or is it Matt?
Matt's the one who wants to change it.
The man.
I'm the one who hadn't won, so Rick's comment didn't make sense.
The man who came in with a cheat sheet, though. Yeah. Matt has notes.
Give me.
And he wants to sweep one like a super flex, 2 quarterbacks or something? Come on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Colby.
Cheese.
Towns.
Kobe Towns. It goes to me. I will take, for Mr. Packett, drafting for Mr. Packett. Looking at your notes, please. Give me the Mercer County Titan defense. Derek held his hand over his player list page. Like, of all the people I want to copy off of, it's Derek. So I'm not looking at your... I was trying to see who's playing who.
Man, this is brutal.
Titan defense. All right, Derek.
Jaden Smith-Heisel.
I'm glad you hid Jaden Smith-Heisel from me because he was who I was going to pick next.
And I'll take Landon Yates.
Landon Yates will go in your wide receiver number 2 spot. And Jaden Smith-Heisel in your running back 2 spot. Mr. Packett needs a flex and a kicker. Braden Boffman is hurt, I assume, still.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Bryce Bob Floyd will go in Mr. Packett's flex. Team Center Communications, quarterback and wide receiver.
I'd love to put Elon Lane at wide receiver, but I guess I'll go with...
Well, you can. I'll let you put Elon Lane at wide receiver.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, you drafted him week 1 and he graduated.
Wait.
But if you want to put Elon Lane at wide receiver, I'll let you do that.
No, I don't want to do that. Just kidding. It's like making sure you're on your toes.
Josh Cook just responded with 1 word. What do you think that word is?
Joe, question mark?
Joe. I'm going to guess Joe.
Legend. Period.
Oh.
Legend.
So he doesn't know me.
Maybe he knows how good you are at fantasy football.
That's what it is. He doesn't know my face, but that's that fantasy football guy. Tell him we were taking bets on our fantasy football segment on whether or not he would know who I am, and that he just made us all rich because Matt made the odds plus 180 that he wouldn't.
That's true.
That he wouldn't, and so we took it that he would, and so we're all rich.
Jakeem
Ray's off the board. Radio Rick, back-to-back picks, flex and kicker.
Take Zach Daly. I'll take Lucas Witt.
Give me Corn Map.
All right, Mr. Packett needs a kicker. Oh, man. Give me Daniel Butler. Derek needs a flex.
Michael Cox.
All right, here's how the matchups look. Team Tourism takes on Mr. Packett.
Correct.
Derek has got Baylor Murphy at quarterback, Tavy Quisenberry and Jaden Smith-Heisel at running backs. Seneca Driver and Landon Yates in the wide receiver spots. Michael Cox in his flex. Cole Andrews is kicker. Boyle County and special teams. The defense and special teams there is his pick. Taking on Mr. Packett, Tucker Foster, quarterback. Cash Smith, Nemo Wilson, running backs. Jackson Harden, Maddox Hager, wide receivers. Bryce Bob Floyd at flex. Daniel Butler is his kicker. Mercer County defense is his defense. Matt, who do you think wins that one?
Pretty even matchup, but Derek went Boyle heavy last week and scored 68.8 points, so I like Packett's team.
There you go.
Whatever.
Speaking of Matt, we'll see how Derek judges his team. Center Communications has got Cornelius Mapp at quarterback, Cameron Peak and Maury Brown at running backs, Lyndon Smith and Jakeem Ray at wide receivers, Cohen Samford at flex, Carl Anthony Towns at kicker. And Lincoln County's defense is his defense. Taking on Radio Rick, Justin Parson at quarterback, Malachi Simmons, Will Rohde at running backs, Nathaniel Daugherty, Hudson DeMargo wide receivers, Lucas Witt his flex, Zach Daly the kicker. Garrett County defense is his defense. Derek, team Center Communications or Radio Rick?
Well, the teams seem pretty even, but considering Matt's team's very like the team he picked last week and he didn't do very good, only got 70 points, I'm going to go with Radio Rick.
Well, thank you, Derek.
Seems like solid reasoning to me. I will pick on bye, and I'll not waste the listeners' time in doing that. I'll just do that and text you all.
All right, sounds great, Joe.
Good luck, everybody.
More Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show is coming up on the Hometown Radio Network.
An important message from Byram Healthcare. If you live with diabetes, you know how challenging and painful it can be to manage your blood sugar. Whether you have private insurance, traditional Medicare, or Medicaid, that can all change. If you inject insulin or have hypoglycemic events without insulin, you may qualify to receive at little or no cost, less copay and deductible, a continuous glucose monitor. It provides blood sugar readings with no uncomfortable finger sticks. It alerts you in real time to potential spikes and lows with your blood sugar levels. Byram Healthcare has been named Best Overall Diabetes Supply Company 4 years in a row by Verywell Health. We carry all major brands and will work with your insurance to get your CGM approved. If you have diabetes, call a U.S.-based Byram Healthcare specialist now. See if you qualify and end the finger stick.
Call 888-963-3749. 888-963-3749. That's 888-963-3749.
Want a taste of the flavor that made Zaxby's famous? Try the Kickin' Chicken Sandwich Meal. Our signature chicken fingers on Texas toast, drizzled with tongue torch sauce and Cool Ranch. Served with hot, seasoned crinkle fries and a small beverage. The best chicken sandwich ever created? Maybe. Indescribably good? Definitely.
Visit Zaxby's in Danville on the bypass, Skywatch Drive. Order ahead at Zaxby's.com and call for catering too.
Hi folks, Mike Gay here, HR Manager with Essity. It's game time, and at Essity, we support our local high school teams. If you're cheering from Titletown for Danville, Boyle County, or DCA, or in Harrodsburg rooting for the Titans or the Bulldogs, or supporting those Golden Lions of GC and Lancaster, remember that Essity is on your team. 70% of our employees reside in these fine communities, and we are your biggest fans. That's Essity, ESSITY.com.
Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show at HTR Joe on Twitter. Got about 35 minutes away from kickoff for most of our high school games. Of course, Boyle County, Lexington Catholic delayed an hour until 8:30. I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised. About 1 o'clock this afternoon, maybe even before that, I was like, there's no way these games getting played. Yeah. But someone much smarter than me, thankfully, was able to look at the radar and say, well, by this time, it looks like it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Now, I asked Coach Haddix earlier today, was there any thought at all about moving the game up to Thursday? He said it was a very short conversation, but the fact of the matter is we had a boys soccer game last night. They had a boys soccer game last night, both of those games at home. He said, like, it's a lot easier to say let's move the game up. There's a lot of logistics that go into moving a game up 24 hours. And so they decided not to, and it looks like maybe going to be a good idea to be able to get that game
and
tonight.
A lot of teams are going for tomorrow, too. And
I did see that. I saw a Sunday night game, and I saw some Monday night games, too.
I think the Sunday was Anderson and South Oldham, I want to say.
Oh, okay, maybe it is.
But so they've got that. But Yeah, they've got that opening up in the weather that looks like about the time that you're playing the game. Then when they're done, it kind of looks like it'll come back around again and start raining. So, yeah they, pretty lucky on that one.
Yeah, if you want to tune in, the Big Daddy, Steve Bertram, and Radio Rick will have the play-by-play call of that. Miles Bell is excited for that. Today's Miles' birthday. Happy birthday to Miles. And Miles is listening to the show as well tonight and got himself a cake from Sweets by Cindy there in Junction City, and it's got the UK logo all over the cake. And so happy birthday to Miles. Hey, real quickly, Garrett County hosting West Jessamine. The Golden Lions looking to win their third game in a row, be their first three-game winning streak since the 2021 season. Yes, go ahead, Robert.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Breaking news.
Okay.
The Boyle game has been moved up by 30 minutes. Now they're kicking off at 8.
So it's 8 o'clock now.
Yeah, instead of 8:30.
All right, maybe they'll meet in the middle, do 8:15 in the next hour. We'll figure it out. But apparently the weather, they don't have to wait that long. They think the weather's going to be fine 30 minutes prior and go ahead and kick the game off earlier. So, so 8 o'clock tonight.
8 o'clock kickoff instead of 8:30 now.
There you go. That's why you got to listen to the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show.
You know.
An 8
and
o'clock
hurry
kickoff.
Finish your meal up and get to the game.
Appreciate that, Robert. Very quickly, Garrett County looking to win their third in a row, be the first three-game win streak since 2021. I was actually looking at some stats. Garrett and West Jessamine, last time they played, the 2016 season. Okay, they haven't played since, and they were supposed to play 2016. I went back through the annals of Garrett County football with a website that I have that I use that can take me to basically any year out of any high school football team that's listed. Garrett County is one of them. They consolidated in 1964. Garrett County did, with all the other high schools in the area.
All for just $3.
Stop that. There's commercials playing. I don't want that playing because I'm getting ready to make a great point. 69-30 is the third highest number of points that Garrett County football has ever scored in a single game. 69 points back in 2016. The other highest scores that they had in 2009, they scored 70 in a 70-33 win over Powell County. And the highest scoring game in Garrett County history, 1999, when Garrett dropped 73 on Owen County, beat him 73-8. Back in 1999. But they put up 69 back in 2016 when they played West Jessamine. Third highest points Garrett's ever scored in school history. West Jessamine's got a really talented quarterback, Gabriel Smith. We saw him play last year. Big, long, tall kid. Yeah. Very athletic. Do a lot of design quarterback runs with him. But I'm cheering for the Golden Lions in terms of, like, I like seeing what they're doing there.
Yeah, they're on a roll.
They're on a roll. Yeah. They got the new stadium. They got Malachi Simmons back. I like what Coach Crutchfield is doing with the Golden Lions. That's tonight, 7:30 kickoff on Hometown Live.net. We'll see you next Friday on the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show.
This is the Talk of the Town.